What made you realize that maybe your family wasn't as normal as it seemed? I recently found out that my grandma is abusive to her children and I have an uncle that I had never knew about. Me and my mom have estimated the exact number of husbands my grandma had as 6. The past 3 years are the only time in my grandma's life that she has been single. I didn't find out about any of this until 2 years back. No one mentioned any of this even at family gatherings. I didn't even know that the grandpa I grew up with wasn't my biological grandpa. In fact, my dad never mentioned any of this. I found out through my mom. So my grandma got pregnant with my aunt at about 16. My great-grandmother forced her to get married to my biological grandfather. They had my aunt, his older brother, and my dad. Then she succeeded in divorcing my bio-grandfather to marry another man. Due to the fact she divorced him and then got married, my bio-grandfather got drafted so he had to go fight in Vietnam where he died. My dad was about 5 at the time. My dad's side of the family still blames my grandma for it. This is why I know nothing about that side of the family. My grandma then dumps my dad and his brother on my great-grandmother. There my dad lived with his aunts, uncles, and cousins. There was an estimate of 12 people living in a 3-bedroom house at one point. I don't know the exact number, but it was more than 10. My grandma became an alcoholic and a gambler. She gets divorced again to marry her drinking buddy, all the while my aunt is with her. They get married and have 2 kids, my uncles. Her new husband cleans up his act and he gets a girlfriend. They get a divorce and he marries his girlfriend and he and his new wife gets custody of my uncles. My grandma fights for custody of my youngest uncle. She loses. This leads to the oldest of the 2 spending his life trying to convince my grandma that he is worth fighting for. My youngest uncle spent his entire life trying to prove that he wasn't worth fighting for. This led to him smoking, being an alcoholic, and not being able to hold a job for longer than 2 years. My dad's oldest brother ended up sneaking out of my great-grandmother's house and lived on his father's grave for months. He then committed suicide. He was in his teens at the time. He felt closer to his dead father than my grandma. My dad received money from the government because his dad died in Vietnam. My dad never saw a penny of that money. My grandma spent all that money on alcohol. When my dad went to college, my grandma never gave him any money. He had ended up getting a football scholarship, but it took a couple of months to be applied to his account. He ended having to drop out because he was starving.